ADAP now. Save ADAP now. Save ADAP now. Save ADAP now.
What was the one in
Save ADAP now.
Orlando?
Save ADAP now. 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 Save ADAP now.
What do we want?
Save ADAP now.
When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want?
ADAP.
When do we want it?
Now.
It reads backwards. It reads backwards.
Now.
What do we want? When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want?
When do we want it? Now. What do we want? When do we want it? Now.
What do we want?
When do we want it? Now.
What do we want?
When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want? When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want? When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want? When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want? When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want? When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want? When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want? When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want? When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want? When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want? When do we want it?
Now. That's what we want.
What do we
When do we
want?
want?
What do we want? When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want? When do we want it?
Now. What do we want? When we want it? Now. What do we want? When do we want it? Now. What do we want? When do we want it? Now. When do we want it? When do we want it? When do we want it? How do we want it? When do we want it? What do we want it? When do we want it? What do we want it? When do we want it? When do we want it? What do we want it? When do we want it? What do we want it? When do we want it?
What do we want?
Now.
Follow me.
Now.
ADAP now.
ADAP now. ADAP now. ADAP now. ADAP now. ADAP now. ADAP now. ADAP now. ADAP now. ADAP now. ADAP now. ADAP now. ADAP now. ADAP now. ADAP now. ADAP now. Now. What do we want?
ADAP.
When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want?
ADAP.
When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want?
ADAP.
When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want?
ADAP.
When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want?
ADAP.
When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want?
ADAP.
When do we want it?
Now.
Are dying on waiting lists. They're waiting for life-saving medications. And our Congress and the Obama administration can do something about it. We know that they care about people living with HIV and AIDS. They've shown it in the past. But we're in a crisis situation right now. Right now there are over 3,400 people on waiting lists waiting for life-saving medications from a program called ADAP, the AIDS Drug Assistance Program. Some of our people here are on these waiting lists. Some of these people are no longer on their medications because they cannot afford them. And their program that has been providing these life-saving medications have put them on waiting lists. Can you imagine having to wait for medication when you are sick? Can you imagine being so poor and unable to be able to get your medication? Can you imagine having to make the choice between paying your rent food or getting your medications. This is not right, and the Obama administration and our Congress have the ability to make it right. So you're going to hear today from some people who are experiencing these waiting lists, who are living in the states. 9 states currently have waiting lists. 14 states have people who are states that are cutting back eligibility. This is an unacceptable condition. We must make sure that $101 million is appropriated so that these lists can be eliminated. We do not want to let these people die. We know that our administration cares about people living with HIV and AIDS. They've shown it in the past, but they cannot let this crisis go unanswered. They cannot let these people die without their life-saving medications. So, with that, I'd like to bring up Rick Lanza from Florida, Ohio. Rick.
I am one of these patients that are on this waiting list. I had medications through ADAP since 1997, and this year my medication has been cut off. Without these medications, I am going to die. I'm not ready to. We know that we can get the funding if Obama and the administration will step up to the plate and help us. Right now, we feel like we are being killed. We are putting on a death list. We don't want to be on that. We don't want to be on the wait list. We need our medications, and we need them now. We need people to stand up and rally with us. There are many, many of us. There's over 3,000 of us on a waiting list. So that means that there are 3,000 people on a waiting list waiting now to die. Once a person's been taken off their medications, when they're off them for a certain length of time, they will become resistant to the medications. And we can't let that happen. We need to keep everybody going and keep everybody alive. HIV with the medications can be treated like a chronic illness, and we can live a normal life. But without them, we are sure to die, and we don't want that.
You're a survivor of HIV and AIDS, and I have waited. I waited in the beginning for a medicine to come along to help me, and then AZT came along. And I waited some more for a medicine that wasn't as toxic as the disease was. And I waited, and the drug cocktail came along. And I waited for ADAP to pay for medicine that costs more than I made in a year. And now I'm being told that I may have to wait again because cutbacks in funding may take me off the eligibility list, and I may have to go without my meds again. And I don't want to wait. I can't help but think 230 years ago, Thomas Jefferson said that all men are endowed with certain unalienable rights, among which are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. The first of these rights was the right to life. By denying us eligibility and access to the drugs we need, we're having the basic right taken away from us. And I refuse to stand silent any longer, and I refuse to wait.
That's right. Bottles that need to be filled with prescriptions. Over 3,400 people are on these waiting lists. These represent lives, empty pill bottles, prescriptions that are not getting filled on a regular basis. We need to make sure these pill bottles get filled. We need to make sure this waiting list ends.
Save ADAP, save lives!
Jacksonville, Florida. I have HIV. I've had HIV for 7.5 years. I started taking medicine a year ago, and now I'm on a waiting list to try to receive more. I'm 30 years old. I'm not ready to die.
I'm Larry. I'm from Atlanta, Georgia, and I was diagnosed HIV in 1997. Georgia is in a state of emergency. As of September 24, 2010, we have 553 people on the waiting list in Georgia. This has got to come to an end. No more people need to be put on the waiting list. Georgia is in a serious need, and something got to be done as soon as possible. Larry Cook.
My name is Ernest Hopkins, and I have lived for 26 years with HIV and AIDS. In Georgia, the ADAP program provides basic life-saving standard of care medications to persons with no income, who are low income and or poor. This program allows patients to keep their jobs and their livelihood, and to stay healthy. The urgency of this demonstration: there are currently approximately 3,000 around the country on a waiting list for ADAP, AIDS Drug Assistance Program. The increase in the federal allocation has not kept up with the demand. And I'll repeat that, it has not kept up with the demand. Due to Georgia's increasing unemployment, in Georgia we're waiting for $11.2 million in allocation funding. We need it in Georgia. Again, we have 553 persons on a waiting list. My name is Ernest Hopkins, and I'm a community advocate.
Directly affected us. The pharmaceutical industry seems to think that we can spend 95% of our take-home income for prescription medication. Medicines are not an option. 95% is ridiculous. We need the pharmaceutical companies to rise up and work with members of Congress and work with the new Obama health care plan to make sure that people have the medication in the interim. The programs are out there. The docs need to be connected. These people need this assistance. It's not like they can just stop taking a multivitamin. These are daily medicines that have to be taken on a consistent basis. The costs are over $1,700 to $2,500 a month in some cases for these meds. It can be devastating to a family. It can be devastating to an individual who suffers with HIV.
The war against AIDS, and those promises are not being kept. Instead, we're spending $102 billion a year in Afghanistan. The amount of money that the president has offered to help save this program is equal to 2 hours of expenditures in Afghanistan. So that's the priority that this president is giving to this issue. And, you know, we've been lulled into a false sense of security in the AIDS battle. We believed that the resources would be made available to keep people alive and well, because we believed that that the Senate, the House, and the President believed that the lives of Americans with AIDS were of value. Well, that's not what we're seeing and hearing now. The idea that in a year which was supposed to have passed health care reform, that we're putting people on waiting lists is shocking. And our voices will continue to be raised until this is ended. The money exists today in unspent funds within the Health and Human Services Department to stop this immediately. Most of the people on the waiting lists are in the southern states. Most of them are people of color. You know, this is a shocking disregard for the constituencies that put this president in the White House. So we will continue to be at the White House, at the U.S. Senate, at the House of Representatives, demanding action from the people who promised us that they would fight the battle against AIDS. So, you know, our plea today to the president is keep your promise. Do what needs to be done. Do the right thing. Thank you.
Keep your promise.